Hello and welcome to my last wedding of the year. I'm going to go through my current Sony kit and what I am leaving this wedding season with and what I will potentially be getting next wedding season based on the new products that have just been announced. I did have a chance to use the 28-70 f2, which is an amazing lens, as well as the A1 II in New York last week. And I'm going to talk about those products and if they're going to become part of my permanent kit or if they were just here for the review because I had access to them. All right, main camera body, the Sony A9 III. I will get to the new products right now. I will be trading this for an A1 II simply because I don't need 120 frames per second. While the global shutter has been very nice and there's been really no banding in any of the venues I've been because the entire image is all captured at one time, which is great, but it is a lower megapixel camera and I think that I would prefer a higher megapixel camera because of a lens we're going to talk about in a moment and that I don't have a 7200 anymore or a longer lens. So I really do want to get a higher megapixel out of my crop mode whenever I activate that. So that is the reason I will be going A1 II. I'm going to be trading the A9 III in for that. If I didn't need 4K 60 for video, I would be very, very happy on an A7 IV. So that is my current, I guess, recommended, or even an A7R Mark V. I feel like there's some pretty good holiday promos on the A7R Mark V as well, which is a really, really great camera. I love the sensor in that camera. It makes really incredible images. So either of those cameras, depending on price point that you're looking at, the A7 IV I am very happy with. But for 4K 60 uncropped, I will be going A1 Mark II, which sounds crazy. When they announced it, I was like, there's no way that that's going to be a wedding photography camera. And then I'm like, it's better, at least for my specific use case, than this A9 Mark III. Next camera, the A7 Mark IV that's on recording right here, as well as the newest lens that I've added to my kit. And it is the 16-25 f2.8G. It's a lens that I use for a lot of YouTube content, and I also use it a lot for weddings. You have to have that safety, that wider lens, and the 16-25 has replaced my 20mm f1.8. That was maybe I did the last 3 weddings of the season with it, and I'm pretty happy with it. Next lens, I would say that my main lens for this wedding season is the 35mm f1.4 GM. I love this lens. The 35mm 1.4, I just love it at 1.4. You are going to see in a moment here that there is a lens overlap, that this 35mm focal length also exists in another one of my lenses. And the reason that I have both of them, we'll just talk about it right now. How about that? Next lens, Tamron 35-150 f2 to f2.8. This is an incredible all-day lens, and I say all day with no real asterisks, unless you're shooting weddings with a lot of people in a really, really tight space, or you really have to kind of get in there for ceremonies. For the ceremonies that I do and the ones that you've seen on the channel, I am very happy with 35, and I am very happy with 150. There are a lot of options now, the 24-105 for Canon, the 28-105 from Sigma, for Sony, and well, I've used those lenses, and they are really, really nice to use. I find having 150mm, especially when you're on a camera that doesn't have 50 megapixels, to be really, really valuable. For ceremonies this year, I've used this for, I think, pretty much all of them, maybe with the exception of the 28-70 f2 that I used on my last 2 weddings. But other than that, this lens has seen a lot of work over this year. And because it is still before Black Friday, I have my crazy Black Friday sale available. So it is my hybrid photo video course. Also, there's only 16 of them left at the time of recording this. So it's my hybrid photo video course, how I do both photography and video on wedding days, as well as you get a ton of bonuses. So one, the cost of that course, it's usually $279. It is discounted to $199, but then it also comes with all these bonuses like advanced wedding photography marketing, which is also $249 on its own. And then I include a few hybrid photo video wedding days on different cameras. So if you are still maybe on DSLR, how I did it on DSLR, as well as my LUTs for weddings. You're seeing my CL preset right here. I use it for pretty much everything, I would say. That's my main go-to for weddings, as well as anything you've seen on YouTube, as well as a wedding filmmaking course that I shot on the Canon R5. So if you're a Canon video creator or you'd like to be a Canon video creator on wedding days, that'll be helpful for you. And then making your first million in wedding photography. All of this is included if you get one of those last remaining 16 bundles, so get in quick before they're gone. Next lens, 85mm f1.8. I will be changing this next season for the 85mm f1.4 GM2. The weight came down a bit. That was my main complaint with the first GM, that it was a little too heavy, a little too big. So I'll be switching to that. I would say that this is my go-to reception lens. So once the intros have usually happened, I'll shoot the intros maybe on a 35 or maybe on the 35-150. After everybody sits down, down, I move to an 85 just so I can be a little bit more out of the way and get the shots that I need, and also keep my ISO at a reasonable place. Well, the 35 to 150, you can absolutely use it. If you're all the way zoomed into 150, you're at f2.8, which is a little dark for some venues, and I might have to get into some higher ISOs. So if it's a complex environment and I know I'm going to have to be doing some post-production work on images, it is just nicer to have a lower ISO. And then the last thing that I added this year, this is the Profoto A10. It is an incredible flash. I was on the Godox V1s for a long time, and the Godox, the 862s, I believe, for a long time. And this replaces my Godox V1. I was having a few issues. So one of my V1s just straight up died a few years ago. So I went with the Profoto A10, and I figure I'm gonna have this flash for a bunch of years. And on the front here, so I have two modifiers that are the magnetic guys. I have the diffusion cup, which I believe just comes with the flash. And then I also got this Half CTO gel as well. So it's not a full CTO, which is color temperature orange, and it gets my flash close enough to incandescent environments, as well as unlocks some creative opportunities as well. Beyond that, I have my Profoto transmitter as well. So this was way too expensive. Now, let's talk about the new exciting lenses. So I had an opportunity to use, I guess, both the products. In the 28 to 70 f2, I got to use at 2 wedding days as well as 2 shoots. And it was a tighter review period than normal. So usually we have things for a couple of weeks. I only had it for, I think, 6 days total. So I will need a longer trial period with this lens before I decide if I absolutely want to purchase it. I will be using it for sure next season and seeing if it fits. I guess the problem for me, or I guess it's not really a problem, but it's just a little bit different. So I like to carry everything in one single bag right here. And the more lenses I add, the more uncomfortable my bag gets on the wedding day. And my current thought process with the 20 to 70 f2 is it will replace my 35 1.4 as well as the 85 1.8, because those ranges mostly fit into there, as well as the low light capabilities. But it won't replace, or it won't be a permanent replacement for my Tamron 35 to 150. Some ceremonies, the 28 to 70 can absolutely work and it can be fine. But at a lot of ceremonies, I find myself at 150 millimeters quite often, even if it is a ceremony that I could have gotten by with the 20 to 70 f2. The Tamron 35 to 150, I think, is going to be my main lens for ceremonies going forward still. So I'm going to need that in my bag, and we need the 20 to 70 f2 in my bag, and then also this 16 to 25. And I guess that's fine. I guess that works. Maybe I've just convinced myself. And then for camera bodies, because I do want 4K 60 uncropped, I will be going with the Sony A1 Mark II, which, similar to the A9 Mark III, I don't know if it'll be my main recommended wedding photography camera. I don't think it will be. I think the A7 IV will still retain that title. It's a great all-around package at an incredible price point. And even if you're doing some hybrid photo video coverage, because the files are so good and everything's in focus, you can absolutely make the 1080 60p footage work, and it looks really good when upscaled to 4K. And if anything, it kind of makes people look a little bit better, which is a weird thing to say, because everyone's not going to see every single detail on their face, which is kind of maybe a negative for us on a technical side, but maybe a positive for your couples. And the reason to be shooting in 1080 60p, or at least the reason I did it, was because I wanted to shoot 60p. I wanted things to be nice in slow motion. But with the A7 IV, you get a 1.5 times crop, which means whatever lens you're shooting with, as soon as you go into video mode, all of a sudden you're in a crop mode. It's very disorienting, and it's a lot harder, in my opinion, to make a good video product whenever you are bouncing in between crop and no crop. So yeah, those are my thoughts. That is my kit going into my last wedding day of the season today. And if you do want to get in on one of those hybrid photo video specials, they are available. It comes with so many bonuses, and once those 16 are gone, they're gone. There might be less gone now. You can also sign up for the main, there's a coupon code on there. If you want to sign up to the main members website and get access to absolutely everything, that's also an option as well. I think it's $180 off of that. So if you want to sign up for everything, it's only a little bit more than the $199. So check that out down below if you're interested, and I'll see you again next time.